Today, I thought I would share with you all the fun I had in my very first Whatnot show. So, I had several jelly rolls before I started selling on Whatnot. Now I have exactly four. My sewing area is being used right now for sorting and keeping straight my Whatnot orders. And just by the way, I'm selling quilting cotton, different size cuts. On my first show, I did sell quite a few charm packs. And I let them go for a song because I wanted to move them out. I also wanted to make the $150 that they ask you to make within your first, I want to say 3 hours of selling, 3 or 4 hours, whatever it is. Your first few hours of selling, they want you to sell $150 to 5 different people, different buyers. And if you can fulfill all the requirements, they will give you a $150 bonus. And I came $19 short of that total. So they were very nice to have matched what I did sell. But here's the interesting, and I guess in hindsight now it's kind of funny, twist to the story. So when I started this, I had some mailers, the kind of sturdy plastic mailers that you get that are about 12 by about 14 or so inches big. I had a packet of those coming in the mail. I had a packet of labels coming in the mail for my HP printer. And to my knowledge, my printer was working. I printed something with it not long ago, and it had ink in it. So I thought I was good. And I looked into buying the heat printer that you can use that prints the small labels. The advantage to that is that those little heat printers run from around $50 or $59 up to $200, which is the price of the one that Whatnot suggested I buy. But I had not even had a single show yet, and so I didn't want to invest in a heat printer while I knew I had my printer here that I believed was going to work. So I picked one out and I simply put it in my shopping cart on Amazon and let it sit there while I was deciding whether or not I'm going to do this for any length of time. So I got closer and closer to the date of my show, which was a Wednesday. And don't you know, in pure fashion, the way my life goes, my printer would not cooperate. It would not print anything. And then the software on the computer was telling me that the items had been printed. Now, mind you, in the past, I had a problem with my printer going online, being connected wirelessly. So I wondered if that may have had something to do with it. Also, I had tried buying the cheap ink in the past. So when you put all those things together, HP printers were notorious for refusing to print for you unless you put their HP expensive ink in them. That's the whole thing. If you want to check it out, you can. Take my word for it. I talked to a couple of my techie friends who know the ins and outs of this stuff, and they confirmed that yes, HP was doing this. So my workaround was that I eventually got the regular HP 67 ink, and I got a cable from the thrift store for about $1.50 to connect my printer to my laptop. And I was able to print. Long story short, it was working. It finally decided to die when I really, really needed it to work because I had 16 orders and no way to print the shipping labels. Let's just add into this that I have only been a seller on eBay, which makes things quite easy. It's like selling for dummies on eBay. Whatnot has a different looking interface, and they have information on there. They have workshops, they have articles, they have a plethora of stuff. And then if you add to that, I also was watching 4 or 5 different creators had done in-depth videos on start to finish for your first show. So the problem was I had overloaded myself on too much information and I was just becoming confused about what to do, what not to do, and how it was all going to work. And something that I don't know if it was better or worse was I was doing this all by myself. I didn't have a husband or mate or roommate or someone who'd done it before here with me at my side. So as much as it was exciting and fun, it was also pretty stressful for a couple of days. And I had a show on Wednesday. So on Friday afternoon, my post office closes at 5 p.m. And there I was. I'd spent the whole day Thursday trying to get my printer to work, and I just couldn't get it to work. So that evening, I contacted my daughter and asked if I could use her printer, and she said yes. So I felt somewhat better, but I was still very amped. So I got up nice and early, got over there by about 9:15 in the morning, and thank goodness I did get there early because guess what? She connected her printer from where it was in the craft room and brought it to the main floor where we were visiting. She got it all set up, and she said, "Okay, let's print a test page." So we tried a test page of one of the shipping labels, and guess what? Wah wah wah. She had just run out of ink. I said, "No problem, honey. I'll run out and I'll grab a container of ink." And I went over there to BJ's, and the only thing BJ's had was the double container of the XL, $115. I said, "I'll pass." Then I went to Staples. Staples did not have any of the cartridge that she takes a 62 cartridge. There were none. There were no black 62 cartridges there. I said, "All right, Walmart is even closer to her home than I was at Staples." And I said, "Well, I'll swing into Walmart. They almost always have the basics like that." No, ma'am. No black 62 cartridges at all. No singles, no doubles, no nothing. So that would have been my last choice to go buy printer ink, but Target came through for us. So she got home from the dentist appointment close to noon, and the process started of printing up the labels and then printing up the packing slips. Did all that, and I'm this much closer to getting my $132 bonus or whatever it was. I was so happy because I did have to put out some money for supplies and things. So I was happy. And I was very thankful that I was going to be able to get all the items into the mail the day that it was required on Friday. So I got everything straightened out. And one of the ladies who had bought from me is a local person who I know when I see. So she logged on to the sale and used a name that I wasn't familiar with. I had no idea she was going to come. And so I didn't set my settings to make pickup available. I thought everyone that I sold to that day was all going to be postal delivery. So she ordered one item, and then she went in and she changed her preference to pickup for the second item. And that caused a snafu with me getting both of her items shipped to her smoothly. Now, had I had some experience with this, I could have fixed it. There's a way to fix it. But I did not know how to do that. So I thought everything was great until I got to the post office at 2 o'clock. And by the way, it was 98 degrees. So cozy. And I'm dragging this heavy bag in the post office, and I put everything on the counter. The very lovely post office help was like, "No, everything looks good. It all looks good, but I said, "Well, on my phone, it's still saying I'm missing one package from my friend Michelle." And she goes, "Well, here's this package. It says her name." And I said, "Well, it keeps saying I'm missing one." And then I said, "You know what? She had the two different items had become separated somehow. We figured it out. I contacted Whatnot that afternoon via messaging, and they fixed it, and everything was fine. And I did get my bonus. But let me tell you, it was a little confusing and a little anxiety producing at times. Would I do it over again? Yes, absolutely. Because being able to stay in my little apartment and sell items right from home and do everything on my laptop. And now I actually have my heat printer, and I tested it and it's working fine. And I only live 4 minutes from the post office. So yes, I will. I have another show planned. So that's how that's going. Purposes. So she's using her personal stash, and she's cutting them into the 2.5-inch strips. And it was an excellent tutorial on how to do it correctly. And I plan on doing that with the collection of the various items that I found in my own stash that I could put into a grouping similar to what I saw in the connecting threads. And so I'm going to use my Connecting Threads magazine with all those wonderful groupings of fabric colors and design sizes and things and textures to make my own jelly rolls. So I'm in the process of sorting out through and finding the combination of fabrics that I like. So I thought that was great. And then once you have the jelly roll made, the quilting compound, she added her own white fabric at 2.5 inch strips or 2 inches. But so she decided to use a jelly roll and her own yardage and used up stash and came up with this absolutely adorable, totally adorable quilt. I love it. So that is what my jelly roll is going into. Then another thing that happened that I saw this week that I plan on doing was Joan Parker. She has on her channel how to make these squares. And she gives you the measurements and she tells you how to construct them. And so I started working on that today. I cut up a couple of plaid shirts that I've been wanting to get into recently and got started with that. So I'm really excited about getting one of those made, a small baby quilt size, but still, this gave me the inspiration. And let's see if I can get down to where, let's see if I can find where. Yeah, she kind of just really solidified it for me when she explained the directions that she used to make this. So simple. And she used muslin for the background. I have some pink that I'm going to use. And so I am excited to do that. I have a couple of shirts cut up. I'm going to do 3 or 4 more. And I already have some plaid shirts cut up. So put them all together and I'll have a lot of nice pink and blue variety for that quilt. Another one that I have to admit is my guilty pleasure is Cosmetic Fix. If you ever just need to veg out for a few minutes, this is amazing. She, I say she because I've seen on some of her videos, she includes herself in the end and it looks like a girl. So that I have to assume. But what I love is that like in the background, she has all these really sweet, let me see if I can find one. She just has like all these really sweet containers and colors and it's just not working for me. But yeah, she shows you how she reconditions. And in the background here, you see she's got a couple of cute little cactuses, and on the right, she's got some really sweet little kitties and stuff. And she just takes this, sometimes the candles and cosmetics and lipsticks and things are all messed up, and she reconditions them to be in good shape again. So if you ever just want to veg out and just look at some eye candy cosmetic repair, if you haven't found it yet, absolutely would recommend that. Another thing that really inspired me was mostly quilts. If you haven't found Nora Burrows yet, she is delightful and her quilts are just lovely. She's a very, very talented artist. She makes plenty of quilts to look at and enjoy. She's got a lot of videos out there. And I just got inspired by what she did with this group of fabrics. It just totally lit my fire, got me going, and I really appreciate her sharing this. So Nora Burrows is definitely worth taking a peek at if you haven't found her yet. And the last one that I found that was relevant was that this past week last week was 4th of July, so there was a huge, giant number of tall ships and all kinds of other sailing ships that all got together in and around the New York area. And this particular Above the Hook video was just so well done. It's just chef's kiss amazing.